surplus country, be it Europe, UK, New Zealand, Australia, and now USA, their agenda always have been number one is open up Indian dairy sector at zero duty. Let me tell you, India dairy imports are allowed from anywhere in this world. There are duties 30% to 60% on various dairy items. And that is also true with all these countries. They do have the import duties of 30, 60, 70 or 100%. So, but if you see from USA perspective, they are right. They want access to India at zero duty because USA is second biggest dairy producing countries, and around 20% of total production is exported. They give around $10 billion per annum subsidies on dairy export and dairy production. And since India is world's fastest growing and biggest dairy market, so they are right, they want free access to India. But let me tell you, in India, dairy is not an industry like USA, where 25,000 big dairy farms are there. Around 50 years back, there were 6 lakh dairy farms of 100, 200 cows, but now all vanished and only 25,000 big industrial farm. Whereas in India, dairy is a source of livelihood for 80 million dairy farmers in rural Bharat. So you have to see whether you want to have industry of USA to be encouraged or livelihood of 80 million dairy farmers of India. Second biggest issue is the food security of 1.45 billion consumers of India. Today our imports are negligible, but if we allow today imports like what mistake we did in edible oil in mid-90s when we were more or less self-sufficient, and today 65% of edible oil is imported. But mind it, edible oil is still a small sector vis-a-vis dairy. Dairy with 240 million metric ton consumption, even 10% of imports means world market will double, because world market of dairy trade is of 100 million metric ton. And if India starts importing 25 million metric ton, commodity price will double, and it is not going to danger the Indian food security, but all the Asian countries like Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Southeast country, Russia, who are heavily dependent on dairy imports, so their prices will also double. And third is Indian market today of dairy is around more than 150 billion. And where do you have the foreign currency of that much? So all these aspects, I think the current policy of local production and encouraging local growth is welcome. In India, we have been growing for the last 50 years, 4.5% to 5% per annum. And we have to continue to grow at this stage. We have to see that beside producing, we should also encourage the consumption at affordable price. But we have to also see that farmers who is producing milk should get fair amount of return while they're going for dairy farming. That can only be possible if we reduce the cost of milk production, or per liter of milk produced, cost should not increase in proportion to the price increase in sale. So that is possible if we improve the feed conversion ratio. That 1 kg of feed, we should get more literage of milk by better going for better breeding and feeding practices among the milk animals. So what is happening is, now first is that artificial insemination was happening, but now sex sorted semen is becoming very prevalent. So good breed cow, you can get the calves, and that too female, because with sex sorted semen you get 95% female calf. So no issue of disposal of male calf. Second is by going for better feeding practices with whether going for concentrate feed or silage or TMR, that is total milk ration. And third is taking care of veterinary health of the our animals, whether it's a mastitis or FMD. We have to see that we properly vaccinate in time, twice a year, all our milk animals. Definitely, I mentioned 100 million metric ton is the world trade, and the way our production is growing, which will multiply 3 times in next 25 years, because same has been happening last 50 years. Every 25 years, our production multiplies 3 times. So in coming days, if we want the farmers to continue to produce more at reasonably good price, we have to dispose of the extra surplus quantity to the world market. And fortunately, we are sitting amid of all milk deficit region, all countries surrounding us, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Southeast countries, Middle East, Russia, even China, all these countries are milk deficit countries. So we have to see, first is, if we have to control our cost of milk production so that we become globally competitive. Secondly, we have to improve the quality of our milk, improve the processing capacities and efficiency so that we are able to produce the value added products required by the world market. Third is, we have to see that some countries export protocols are not there. Those countries have got some problems in importing dairy products of India, whether it's China or Russia or other countries. So we have to have the export protocol set in with these countries so they allow. So I think cost of milk production, quality, and the export protocol, all these needs to be worked on so that India can become dairy to the world.